And we are live. So, on today's episode, what I want to talk to you about is confidence. Okay? Um, Let me ask you a question. When are you finally going to get your ducks in a row? Right? As a functional medicine practitioner, when are you finally going to move forward on that Facebook campaign, that YouTube campaign, social media campaigns that you know you need in order to grow your practice? Now, that's a little bit of a leading question because you know there's no such thing as perfect. Right? There's no such thing as perfect. There's research coming out on a daily basis. Things are always changing. So what I want to do in this video is I want to show and share with you a way where you can buy your confidence. You can literally purchase your confidence so you can move forward on the things that matter. Okay? So I recorded, I was just talking a little bit, but it wasn't recording. So I wrote some notes down. So tip number one that I want to go over in today's video is number one is that your confidence, right? Your competence equals your confidence. Your competence equals your confidence. So when I played football, I played football at a collegiate level. When I played football, Coach McGinty, my linebacker coach, used to always say, Andrew, it's easy to be unconfident when you don't know what the hell you're doing, right? You say, the only time you're unconfident is when you don't know what you're doing, when you don't know the plays, when you haven't studied enough film before the game. That's how you get stumped, right? And that's the reality of most people. And, what I'm going to say is a little bit controversial, especially with all of the news surrounding like mental health and depression. But for the most part, feeling unconfident, feeling depressed, right? If one of my rules of life is this: take responsibility for everything, right? I say that to my employees. I say that to everybody that I meet, my friends. You have to take responsibility for everything because it's only when you do that that you remain in control of the situation, right? Once you start blaming parents, once you start blaming your genes, once you start blaming, things outside of you, then you can't fix it. Okay, so if you have that mindset where the buck stops with you, right? Then you quickly realize that depression, being unconfident is just a symptom of feeling lost and not having direction, or having direction and not having the skills to get you there. Right now, of course, there's chemical imbalances that might lead to depression, but the reality is, if you had chemical imbalances, you probably wouldn't have had enough motivation to get certified in the first place, right? So if you're on this call and you're feeling unconfident, if you're feeling unconfident and you're maybe a little bit depressed, okay, and you got through and you're certified, the reality is this: either you're lost or you have direction, you just don't have the skills or wherewithal to get there. Now, here's the reality. Oops. That's I have some meetings. I'm gonna be a little bit late. I gotta record this video, but the reality is this: if that's you, then that's good news. Because if you're feeling unconfident, then it's either one of two things that you're unconfident about. Number one, right? Either you're unconfident about your clinical skills, or you're unconfident, right, about your marketing skills. Right? So it's only two things that's stopping you from making that video, from putting out that piece of content. It's either A, you're scared that what you're saying in the video or in the written content is not correct, or B, you feel like that what you're doing is a waste of your time, so why do it? Right? So let's touch on the first one first, because without clinical, confidence in your clinical ability, there's nothing you can really do, right? So let's touch on that. Now, here's what I would say, right? Tip number two. If you are unconfident in your clinical ability, the good news is this, and I'm not a doctor. I work with a lot of doctors. I hear a lot of stories. I know the successful ones from the ones that I would bet against, right? The number one thing is this. From the functional medicine practitioners I've spoke to and who I know are going to be successful with or without my marketing help, They purchased their clinical confidence. So your clinical confidence, right, can be purchased, can be bought. Okay, so here's the deal though, and there's a caveat to this. It's not what most people think. Now, most people are going to think that, hey, I'm just going to buy another program, right? I'm going to join another institute. I'm going to join another mastermind. That's not what I'm talking about here, okay? Because for the most part, if you keep on buying stuff, right, you're going to get confused. Because this mastermind might say, okay, let me analyze the situation, or let me go about my protocol this way. And then this mastermind might use a different diagnostic tool and a different test, and it gives you different readings. And then it completely goes against this. And then you have a third one who doesn't believe in any of the testing, believes in just doing this. And then now you start getting confused because there's so many, my mom used to say, there's so many hands in the pot, right? So many hands in the pot. So what you want to do instead, let me turn it on and see if this is a little bit better. So what you want to do instead is you want to carry out the scientific method, right? So when I say the clinical confidence can be bought, is when you do your due diligence, right? Now I'm a guy, I'm a part of a lot of masterminds myself. I read a lot of books. But for the most part, this is how I approach it. I go deep into one thing, execute it, and then move on, right? So what you'll see here is I am big right now into storytelling, okay? So there's a lot of stuff on marketing. There's a lot of things you can do, right? You could do Facebook ads, YouTube ads, you could do copywriting, you could do logic, you could study metaphor. There's a lot of things in marketing that you can do, right? However, this is my philosophy on life. Is number one, you have to immerse yourself in one thing, okay? So if you're somebody and you're, trying to be the best doctor on gut issues, and then you're also trying to be the best doctor when it comes to, autoimmunity issues. If you're trying to be the best doctor when it comes to brain fog, you have to slow your roll, right? You have to slow your roll. Now, I'm not saying you don't do that, but you have to have a clear process on how to do that. So what I'm suggesting is you go deep on one thing, right? You join one mastermind first, okay? And when I say clinical, so for the most part, this is applying to new doctors, and I'm going to speed past this. I'm going to go a little faster, but this is my advice to you. You want to focus on one thing, right? And then you want to execute the scientific method, right? So, 2A is join one mastermind, right? And just believe now. Here's my secret tip on getting ahead in life. Don't be skeptical. Don't overanalyze things. Just have faith that the mastermind that you joined was the right decision, that what he's telling you is the truth, and go all in on him. Go all in on that one mastermind, right? Learn the processes, learn the protocols, and this is what you want to do in your own practice. Is you want to start carrying out the scientific method. So here is the question, right? So the scientific method is a couple different steps. So step number one, you want to ask a question, right? You want to ask a question. Step number two is you want to do research. Then number three is you want to construct a hypothesis, okay? And you should, as a doctor, I'm sure you're very familiar with this. So, but I'm writing it down just to prove a point. So, you want to construct a hypothesis, right? Then number four is you want to set up an experiment, right? Now, here is the sad truth about every single business, right? Whether you're an agency like me, or a doctor like you, or a dentist or whatever, right? Is that business is nothing more than a series of experiments. Clients always ask me, hey, Andrew, what results can you guarantee? What can you promise me? By the end of month one, end of month two, how many leads can I get? Like, I don't know, right? Because I don't know how people are going to resonate with you on camera, right? People may resonate with me, but you're different, right? People may resonate with the other client, but they might not resonate with you. So even though I got this client 26 leads or 40 leads in a week, I don't know. You might get more, you might get less. And that's reality. Every single business is a set of experiments. So what you should be doing is, if you're in a stage right now where you're trying to take your practice to the next level and clinical confidence is what's holding you back, then the simple question you should be asking yourself is, how do I grow my practice with my skills, right? How do I grow my practice with my current skills? Okay. And that's why you join this mastermind. So this mastermind is the research phase of it, right? And as you join this mastermind, the whole point of it is so you can have hypotheses, right? Module 1, module 2, right? You have all these online institutes. It's so you can do the research, form hypotheses, and now what you need to use your patience as are tests, okay? Let me test out what this mastermind is saying, what this mastermind is teaching, okay? And does it work? And what you'll start seeing is that you'll have 1 success, 2 success, 3 success, 4 success, 5 success, 6 success, and then you can move on to the next mastermind and get a new skill. But what a lot of people try to do is they try to maximize earnings before they maximize learnings, right? So you'll have a functional medicine practitioner just try to take all the cases in the world, and now they have to learn everything in the world, and they're just stuck grinding their wheels, okay? So the good news is this. This is what you want to do. Now, the problem with this, though, right, as you can see, is following this method, at least in the beginning, is you're not going to make the most money, right? So one of my clients, Dr. Buddy Chijinski, out in Pennsylvania, when he grew his practice, right, he was a chiropractor first. So he became a chiropractor and then became certified in functional medicine. Now, the benefit to him was that he had revenue coming in the door, right? He was stuck. I mean, of course, he was in the traditional insurance model. So he was in the traditional insurance model. And then he had patients coming in feeding his practice, right? Now, like most functional medicine practitioners, you don't want to stay relying on insurance. So as he was learning the skills of the trade of functional medicine, he then started learning, right? So he invested in himself. He invested in these masterminds with his current business, and then it started experimenting on his chiropractic patients for free, for the most part, right? Or at cost. And then he bought his confidence. He got case studies, and then he raised his fee to $3,000 per patient. That's what you want to do, right? So for the most part, when you're starting off as a practitioner, the best way is to either A, humble yourself and be an associate somewhere, or B, don't kill the first business, right? So if you're a chiropractor, it's okay to be, accept the traditional insurance model at first, because that's what's going to fund your next journey, right? And it's also going to give you the clients to experiment your new hypotheses on. Okay, so don't, this is what they say, don't kill the baby, right? Or don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, so just because you're trying to go into this new model where you're a cash-based practice, if you don't have the confidence in your abilities, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. Get your confidence, buy your confidence first. Okay, now here's the bad news with that, right? The bad news with that is that if that's you, if you're at a stage where you're clinically unconfident, you should probably leave this video, right? Because what I'm going to talk about now is under the presumption that you have clinical confidence, that you're there, and that what's holding you back is your inability or you're not confident in marketing. That marketing is what's intimidating. So if you're clinically unconfident, that's the model I would follow. The Dr. Trzynski model, right? Learn, First of all, keep your current business, become certified, and then practice your certification on current patients. And it's a win-win. They'll love you, they'll be loyal, and then when you start actually charging for stuff, they're going to be the first ones to buy. Right? So go ahead and do that. But now if you're there, right? Tip number 3 is this. What's holding you back right now is marketing. Okay? And it might be a couple of different things, right? It might be a couple of different things because marketing is a very broad term. You might not be confident in your writing abilities. You might not be confident in how you are on camera. Or you might not be confident in the fact that you know how to do Facebook ads or YouTube ads. Now, here's what I would say, right? It all boils down to this. The goal of marketing, right? The goal of marketing is to put $1 out, right? You want to put $1 out, and then you want to get $2 back. If you can put $1 out and get $2 back, you'd already have ads up and running that are getting you 10 to 20 to 30 new patients a month. So it's just this action, this not knowing how to do this is the crux of the issue, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do now is don't overthink about, your speaking abilities or your writing abilities, because it's just, once you know how to do this, all that does not matter. So here is a quote I want to read to you that I have written down here. It's from something called the One Sentence Persuasion Course. And it reads like this. It says, people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, ally their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Okay, so the number one flaw, right? The number one flaw that I see in functional medicine practitioners' marketing or the way they go about marketing is that they're too concerned with the technicalities of what they're saying that they forget to encourage their prospects' dreams, justify their prospects' failures, ally their prospects' fears, confirm the prospects' suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Right? And a perfect example of this is I had a client once who, when they took me on to do their marketing, the first thing that he said to me was, Andrew, just make sure when we get the ads up and running that you're not attacking personal, the traditional conventional marketing system. He said, I don't really like how the conventional system is ran, but I see ads all the time that's attacking regular doctors, and it makes me feel, it makes the ad feel skeezy, right? That's what he said to me as soon as he brought me on. Then we ran a survey where we surveyed his whole, he has a Facebook group with like 1,000 patients. We surveyed them, and guess what they all said? They all said they hate their doctor, the doctor doesn't listen to them, and they just kick them out. And guess what he said? Let's attack the doctors. Okay, so that is a perfect story to illustrate what most functional medicine practitioners are doing. Okay, whether it's histamines or white blood cell levels that is responsible for whatever. Right now, don't get me wrong. I don't want you to be clinically incompetent. Right? I don't want you to be lying and selling snake oil. But here's the reality. People don't care about what the whole truth is. They want to feel confident that you just know what you're talking about, right? That you've done it before, you know what you're talking about, and that they can, all prospect wants is hope. Because think about it like this. As a functional medicine practitioner, what line of defense are you in, right? So if you played football like I did, you know that the safety, right? And again, if there's women watching this, I'm going to try to think of a better example. But you know that the safety in football is the last line of defense, right? And if you're a woman, I guess the best example is mom, right? The mom is she gets the last say in the household, right? So as a functional medicine practitioner, you are the last line of defense, meaning that they've already been to their specialist, they've already been to the family doc. They've already been to the hospital. They read all the diet books on Amazon, and they've done all the supplements, and nothing's worked. So by the time they consider you, your main job should be restoring hope into them, right? You have to restore hope, meaning that you have to connect your protocols to the motivations that they have in life, right? To the story that's in their head. Okay? So worry less about technicality. You know, my mentor used to always say this, right? My mentor, I used to work with Ty Lopez. You know, he's big in the marketing field. He used to always say this. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be rich? Right? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be rich? Now, if you want to be right, you can go ahead and you can use boring explanations that nobody's going to understand. But if you want to be rich, you want to do some of these things, right? You want to come up with metaphors. You want to make things easier to digest, right? Even if it means withholding or saying things that aren't 100% true, but the patient gets it. Okay? So here's tip number 3, right? Tip number 3 is that specificity creates desire. Okay? Specialization and specificity create desire. Okay? Equals desire. And that is a key thing that you have to understand, right? So I was reading The New Scientist the other day, the magazine, and they had a good article about the cost of misjudging others' emotions, right? So let me read that for you, right? The cost of misjudging others' emotions. And what they said is this, right? They said in experiments involving positive and negative emotions, including studies in which participants described a real case of unfairness in their lives and related how hurt they had felt, meaning they gathered a whole bunch of people and these people shared a personal story, right? So this is an experiment, so they gathered people and these people shared real life stories about events that hurt them. Klein, the doctor, found that compared to an accurate empathizer, one who underrated someone else's emotion left a more negative impression overall in one study and was considered less desirable as a friend. Okay? So let me break that down for you. If you don't connect your clinical mechanisms, right? So if you're you know, a functional medicine practitioner, you do a lot of stuff on the gut. If your whole presentation is mentioning gut flora and the good bacteria and the bad bacteria and probiotics this and fiber that, you are least desirable as a doctor. It's psychologically proven, right? And that's the biggest conflict that I see working with functional medicine practitioners is that, yes, the body is complex. There's no one rule for, you know, diagnosing a patient, right? There's 1,000 ways you can go. But psychologically, which is the most important thing, because you got to get people in the door. You have to get psychologically, psychology is the most important thing in a business. You have to understand psychology or you're never going to get the patients to practice on anyway, right? Psychologically, while mentioning the good bacteria and the bad bacteria is important, people want to know how it applies to their life, right? People want to hear that the probiotics that hasn't worked is not their fault. In fact, it was never going to work for them. They want to hear about that the doctor who kicked them out the consult is a jerk and how the reason why he did that, the reason why the doctor is telling you that it's all in your head is because he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? You have to connect. Here's a good example, right? Solar system, right? What most people do, right? So this is the sun, right? And then we have all these planets that revolve around, right, the sun, okay? Here's what most functional practitioners do. They make the technical expertise or the technical explanation the most important thing when it should be the prospect that they're serving and their emotions the most important thing. And then you just use technical aspects to back that up. Okay? So here's an example. Right now, if you read the book Charlatan, he goes over doctors, right, who really didn't have that much medical expertise, but they sold a whole lot of patients on things that they did not need. Now, I am never going to encourage that, but what I'm going to say is this. That's who you're up against, right? Whether it's the pharmaceutical industry, whether it's other charlatan doctors, the reality is this. You're spending so much on your clinical expertise. You're spending so much on online courses. You're spending so much on masterminds and conferences. You're spending so much time away from your family, from your kids, your wife, so you can read the latest research, that the most egregious thing you can do is not apply the marketing principles to get patients that you can help, right? Why should all of the effective marketing principles be reserved for pharmaceutical companies and charlatan doctors? Okay, so let me read you something from a book about Dr. John Brinkley. So Dr. John Brinkley, he sold goat testicles. He sold goat testicles to literally millions of people because he promised that it would cure their libido, right? So he sold it to men who had low sex drive, their libido was low, and he said, hey, this goat testicle surgery will fix you. And millions of people believed it, right? And this is one of the things that he, that was wrote in so it's a biography, it's not an autobiography, but this is what they said, right? They said this. He wasn't just satisfied being a mere doctor, curing, peddling one bottle for whatever ails your cure. Instead, Dr. John Brinkley, his mindset was to expand his product line and with it, his consumer base, right? His strategy was brilliant. Not only niche out your target market, meaning if you're going for IBS, to niche that down, or if you're going for chronic allergies, to niche that down, or if you're going for autoimmunity issues or thyroid issues, to niche that down, right? Not only to niche down your target market, but within your target market, create a sub-niche, right? So go from IBS to maybe women with IBS, or IBS that affects people who want to work out, and then sub-niche that down, right? So get more and more and more specific. And this is what the charlatan doctor said. And build out your product line to match each sub-niche. In other words, why sell everyone attending a medicine show the same one-size-fits-all cure when you can identify problem A, problem B, problem C, problem D separately, and then offer a cure specific to each individual ailment? Undoubtedly, only the color, right? So he's saying in order to sell bottles, right? Undoubtedly, the color of the bottle will be different, right? So people with problem A would get a different color bottle. People with problem B get a different color bottle, but it's the same thing in each bottle. Undoubtedly, only the color of the liquid in the bottles, A, B, C, and D, is changed. The potion itself was the same, but the price at which it could be sold was higher because it was specialized. The desire for something precisely formulated to cure A by sufferer A was greater. Many people suffered from more than one modality, and it would also result in higher sales, right? Think about how brilliant that was. He said, let me break it up by multiple different problems. And guess what? People with problem A are going to pay me the most for the solution for problem A. And I have a bunch of different products that solve other specific illnesses. So they're going to buy that too. Means they're going to buy 2, 3, 4 things. Okay. Now, obviously, he was selling garbage, but imagine if he was selling something good. How brilliant of a marketing strategy that'll be, right? So let me show you how the pharmaceutical companies are following the same exact strategy. Ibuprofen, right? How many times you sick, you have a headache, your head's throbbing, you go to the store and you get ibuprofen. Which one are you most likely to get? Ibuprofen regular, right? The regular ibuprofen, or ibuprofen for migraine? You tell me, do you think there's different chemicals or things in the ibuprofen? No. No. Right? So specialization and specificity equals desire. And once you understand that, your whole business will change. Right? So I created a video last night and I did a little case study. So I want to show you what I went over in that video. Now, the reason why I read that is because when I speak with most functional medicine practitioners, here's what they try to do. They try to sell the fact that they're a functional medicine practitioner. They try to sell the fact that they know applied kinesiology. They try to do things like that. And guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the solution. They care about the problem and how your solution is tailored to that problem. For example, right? Stem cells. Stem cells is a huge thing. There's a lot of stem cell docs, a lot of people talking about stem cells. But let me just show you an example. So let me type in stem cell books on Amazon, right? And what you'll see is that the most popular book on Amazon has 88 reviews, 22 to, right? That's the most popular books on stem cells, okay? So let's go to, so that's a solution, right? So stem cells is a solution to a problem, right? People get stem cells injected so they can get cells that regenerate a particular problem. So let's type in one of those problems. Let's type in knee pain, okay? Let's type in knee pain books, okay? Here you go. The first book has 1,325 reviews. The second one, 200, right? And what you'll see, here we go, right? The top stem cell book had 88 reviews. The first one here had 1,000, right? Let's type in a different illness, right? Let's type in thyroid, for example, right? Thyroid, one of, chronic condition that a lot of people have, right? Here's the first book on thyroid. Let me see this real quick. 2,141. So let's type in functional medicine, right? Functional medicine being a solution, right? Let's type in functional medicine. Okay, let's see how many people care about that. Functional medicine books. Okay, here we go. 3, top book, 3. Okay, 3, 114. Okay, 47.29. And this is what people are trying to write in their ads, like it's going to get clients, like it's going to get patients. It's not, right? It's not, right? The fact that you're a CMP, functional medicine practitioner, right? So certified CM, certified F, so CFMP. The fact that you're a CFMP means nothing to anybody, right? The only thing being a functional medicine practitioner should be used in a sales call or a marketing ad is if God forbid you have a lawsuit on the way and people want to make sure that you're certified to practice in the state, right? That's the only time you should mention functional medicine for the most part, because nobody cares, right? So what you should be doing is if the person has, right? If the person has IBS, right? If a person is sitting in your chair, right? And I'm about to open up my functional medicine Facebook Institute, and this is the fundamental philosophy of what we do and how we generate results for our clients. If you want to serve IBS patients, people with irritable bowel syndrome, you need to position yourself as an IBS, right? An IBS specialist. And I'll never forget, right? When I'm doing campaigns for doctors, I, for the most part, try to read every book on that disease because I want to see what the prospect was exposed to. That way we don't repeat messages, right? That's another thing that we go over in our institute, right? How to do competitive research and how to know how to craft the right message that other people haven't. Competitive research, we do all that. But for the most part, I read all the books about IBS. And literally, there was a guy who said, I have an IBS clinic. And I was like, I've never heard of that. But if I had IBS, guess where I'd want to go? I'd want to go to the IBS clinic. So same thing with thyroid. If you have a thyroid patient sitting in front of you, you're not a functional medicine practitioner. You are the go-to guy for thyroid issues, okay? For example, there's this one woman who created a book. She's a New York Times bestseller because of this reason. So let me type in thyroid books real quick, right? She's a functional medicine practitioner, but her book is Hashimoto Protocol, and she's a New York Times bestseller. Nowhere on the title does it say functional medicine. Nah, at all. Right? And that's what you have to start realizing. And the cool thing about this, now you might, objection I get is, Andrew, is this manipulation? Am I lying? I'm a functional medicine. Here's what this charlatan doctor said, right? This is like chapter 1 of being a charlatan, right? You want to be a good doctor and you want to market like a charlatan. That's what, I'm not sure if you guys listen to rap, but there was a good rap song by Ludacris where he's like, a woman in the streets, a freak in the bed. That's what you want to be, right? You want to be a good practitioner when people come in the door. But when it comes to marketing, it's a dog-eat-dog world, okay? So what he said is this, right? I'm trying to look for it. He says, this is what he said. Perception is reality. Realizing that most people accept you as you present yourself. From that point forward, whether his name was John Brinkley or not, the man hailing from Beta, North Carolina, always introduced himself as Dr. John Brinkley. So before he was a doctor, he called himself a doctor, right? Muhammad Ali. I said I was the greatest before I knew I was. People accept you for how you accept yourself, right? You ever heard of the saying, a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you think you're not worthy of your man or your boy, he's going to leave you. If you think you're not worthy of that new car, you're never going to get it. People see you as you see yourself. So you're the IBS specialist because you said so. You're the thyroid specialist because you said so. Listen, reality is you went through masterminds, you went through institutes, you read all the research. You're better than 99% of practitioners out there, okay? And you have to accept that. You can't constantly be, listen. I get the Nature magazine. It comes out every week. Do you know how much research is coming out every week? You're never going to know it all. But if you have case studies, that's all you need. Because at the end of the day, the game isn't to know the most. That is not the competition. The game is to help the most people. Okay? So that's something that as a perfect, and I get it, right? Because I have some of that too. Right? I'm not happy unless I read all of the sales books, right? I'm not happy unless I read all of the creativity books or all the self-help books or all I have some of that perfectionist in me. But guess what? If you're not practicing, who are you really helping? You're being selfish, right? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, right? So it's a little recap here. Let's go back a couple slides. Okay. Number 1 is your competence is your confidence. So if your practice isn't where you think it should be, it's one of two things. Either you're not confident in your clinical skills, which is why you're not putting out the content, right? Because you don't know if it's factually correct, or you're not confident in your marketing skills. And that's why you're not putting out the content you need because you don't know if it's even going to work, right? So why waste your time? If you're clinically incompetent, you can buy your confidence by going through one mastermind at a time, learning everything there is to learn from that guy, believing him, not being skeptical, and testing it out on the patients that you already have in the traditional model until you get a lot of case studies and prove to yourself that you know what the hell you're doing, right? That's as easy. Getting clinical confidence is this easy. Join a mastermind, believe everything he says, try it on your patients. Once it works, You believe in it. Done. Okay? And if you've already at that stage of your, we call that level 1 of being, a functional medicine practitioner, an elite functional medicine practitioner is stage 1 is believing in what you're selling, right? So once you get past that, now the problem is, how do you market effectively? How do you put $1 out, get $2 in? And the way you do that is by making your prospect the sun, making your prospect the center of the solar system, and everything revolves around them, right? Everything is around how, what they're going through. The fact that conventional doctors are telling them that it's all in their head. The fact that they've tried eliminating gluten and that doesn't work, okay? And the center of the universe is not, you being selfish and trying to get everything technically correct. The center of the universe is, how do you just get them better? Okay, so what if it was, platelets instead of white blood cells? So what? Okay, as long as you get them better, as long as you give them the right supplement, the right herb, the right whatever, you did your job. You'll get better next time, okay? And finally, once you make the prospect the center of your universe, you need to focus, right? That means joining a mastermind that teaches you how to be clinically good at one disease at a time, right? One disease at a time, right? Joining a mastermind that goes all about IBS, gut issues, get good at that, practice that, get the testimonials, right? Move the thyroid. Learn everything there is to know, practice that, get testimonials, move to dementia. Practice that, right? And that's all you have to do. Now, here's the reality, right? I'm going to leave you off with this before I open up the Institute. Everything I said is good, but you still need to put out the content, right? The famous saying, if a tree falls in the middle of the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it really make a sound? The answer is, who cares? Okay? So who cares that you're the IBS specialist if nobody knows? So if you're following that method that I said for clinical confidence, okay, if you're following that method, then what you need to do is what I call the leapfrog effect. And my computer's about to die here, so I'm gonna wrap this up. What you need to do is follow the leapfrog effect. And what the leapfrog effect is once you have IBS patients, right, you wanna get about 3 to 5, and quite frankly, you can never have as much testimonials, okay? The famous saying and the true saying is that people move toward pleasure away from pain, right? The more testimonials you have, the more pleasure it seemingly is to your target audience that you can do the same thing for them, right? Nobody wants to be the first to the party, right? Nobody wants to be the first to do anything, right? The fear of the unknown. So the more testimonials you get, the better, right? But let's just say, for this argument's sake, you just get 3 testimonials, right? You join an IBS mastermind, you get 3 testimonials. What you want to do is, let's just say this is John, Joe, and Jane, okay? Right? It's John Doe, Joe Doe, Jane Doe, okay? What you want to do is, after you get your success stories, you want to document, number 1, a testimonial. Actually, I'm sorry. What you want to do, number 1, right? And this is, and the reason why I corrected myself is because most functional medicine practitioners don't have this, is you want to document the process that you followed to get John Doe better, to get Joe Doe better, and to get Jane Doe better. You want to document what you did to get them better, okay? Now, here's what you have to wrap your head around. Unless you want to be, right? Unless you want to be a functional medicine practitioner who's a solo shop and you're always going to be the only person at your office, then you could just do what the heck you want because you don't have to train somebody. But if you want to grow your practice, eventually have multiple practices, right? Then you're going to have associates one day, okay? You're going to have associates one day. So you should already be documenting what you're doing. Number one, so you can train other people, right? So you can train others. And then number two, you can explain to your prospect what they can expect. Okay, so here is the deal. All right, here's the deal. I have the book somewhere, but one of the best businessmen of all time, right, was, and outside of Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller, he was the richest businessman that ever lived. And that's Sam Walton, the guy who started Walmart, okay? And one of the things that he pioneered was the free sample. So he'd have, he'd give away free samples of meat and cheese and things like that. And people would taste the cheese and they'd buy it. So what most functional medicine practitioners are doing in their marketing is they're just saying, hey, I'm going to get your IBS better, or hey, I'm going to get your thyroid better. But they're not giving people a test drive, right? Would you buy a $50,000 car if you didn't drive it first? I mean, I've bought like $3,000 cars and they make me buy it. Imagine a $50,000. They probably let you take it home for a day, okay? Yet, when it comes to the business that we're in, we're not giving people any test drives, okay? And the only way you can do that, right? And I say this to my copywriters all the time when we're writing campaigns for myself and my clients. Show, don't tell, okay? Sam Walton could have easily said, hey, buy this piece of meat. It's the best tasting meat, a famous, I love Drake. Drake's my favorite artist. And what he says is never trust anybody who says, trust me. Now, what you have to think about advertising is this. Advertising is no different than one-on-one communication, right? The way I'm talking right now is how I talk to anybody in a sales situation. Imagine I said this. Hey, my name's Andrew. You can trust me. My name's Andrew. You can trust me. My name's Andrew. You can trust me. Hey, my name's Andrew. You can trust me. I'm going to get you results. You can trust me, right? It wouldn't work. Instead, I'm making videos that's hours long, giving you the keys. I'm giving you a test drive of what to expect if you were to do business with me. However, most functional medicine practitioners just literally promise it. Now, here's the deal. You're lucky because you're in the health industry in America where most people are sick enough where you'll get a few desperate clients or desperate patients, but your income is going to be unpredictable, right? Because how many people are going to be so desperate this month in your geographical area that just going to come in, right? And that's what Warren Buffett said. Warren Buffett said, never trust the kindness of strangers, right? And what I say, what Andrew Kopp says, is never trust the desperation of strangers, okay? Instead, you want to have campaigns that manufacture, that build up that desire for somebody to come into your office. So always document what you're doing, because you can explain that process to your prospects and they get a test drive of what the hell they're going to be paying you for. Then number two is, and this is a tip, this right here, if you take this and you implement this, right, will do wonders for your business. When you gather testimonials, make sure that the patients are praising the protocol as well as you. So you want to get testimonials, right? Because think about it like this. In all business school, right, if you get your MBA, now I went to University of Oregon. I dropped out. I am not ashamed to admit it. School, when it comes to business, is like totally backwards. But if you get your MBA, because I did make friends at the University of Oregon. One of the professors teaches in the MBA program. He took a liking to me. One of the things that they always, basic business 101, what they teach is the 4 Ps, okay? The 4 Ps are product, okay? Price, promotion, and place, okay? That's the 4 Ps. Now, why most functional medicine practitioners stay one-man shops for their whole career is because they never have a product. The product is them, right? The name of the practice is their last name. They have no processes. They have no protocols. They can't train any associates. The patients don't even know what to expect before they come in the damn door. And the only people who do business with you are people desperate enough to do it, right? So you need your product first, and then what you need is you need testimonials praising your product, not just you. Because when you have your associate, then what? Everybody's gonna be like, hey, I want the doctor. No, but the associate's gonna be like this. No, I am. No, that's not what I saw in the Facebook ad. I want that doctor, not you, right? So have people praise the protocol, because that's how you build a practice. That's how you build a practice, right? You have a product, which is your protocol, okay? Your promotion is testimonials, right? Praising the product. And then at first, you give it away for free. And then the more testimonials you get, the more you can charge. It's an easy system, right? Turn each patient into a brand advocate. And that's exactly what we teach in our Facebook, Functional Medicine Facebook Institute, okay? So I want to open that program up. And, you can click the link below. It should be Richmond Terrace Research / Functional Medicine Facebook Academy / Facebook, okay? Academy, Institute. I see a lot of functional medicine practitioners join institutes, so I might just change the name to Institute. But, click the link above or below. And here's everything you're going to get. Because I follow my advice. So I'm going to give you a crazy deal right now. But let me show you everything that you're going to get. So the first thing that you're going to get in the program, right, is what I call the Copywriting Alchemy course. So the Copywriting Alchemy course is what it's going to do, right? So the cool thing about being a doctor is that everybody has to fill out paperwork, right? Every patient has to fill out paperwork. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to set up your intake form. So you not only collect the information that you're going to need clinically, like family history, childhood history, childhood diet. Like we're going to teach you like all the questions that will help you clinically. But we're also going to include some sections so you can get the best stories out of your prospects that you can literally copy and paste into your Facebook ads or your YouTube ads to generate results, right? Now, I've worked with almost every single niche, right? From, cash advances to, property management to dentist to freaking med spa, anything you name it, I've worked with, like online products, right? And the biggest flaw that I see is that the CEOs of the companies don't know what the prospect really wants, because they don't have surveys, they don't have intake forms in place, right? People just do business and they go, and they don't, the CEO doesn't really know why people are doing business in the first place. But you, on the other hand, are legally required to do this paperwork stuff, right? So you doctors have an advantage because you always know what your patient wants. Now, most functional medicine practitioners don't read it, right? They don't stay in tune, right? They worry about the technical instead of the emotional side of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to help you set up your intake form so you can get some of the emotional data, not just the clinical data, so you can get more patients in the door, right? We're going to teach you how to take that and to structure it, right? Here's the thing. I have a whole bunch of copywriting books, right? And if you read Tony Robbins, what Tony Robbins says is that success leaves clues. And here's the thing about writing and getting, to creating successful Facebook ads that generate you 10 to 30 new patients a month. It's all about how you structure what you say, right? Anybody can just press the promote button. But if you take stuff in your intake form and literally just structure it in one of the 7 copywriting frameworks that we're going to show you in the program, your old patients are literally going to give you new patients. That simple. So you don't have to do any thinking. You don't have to do any creative. You don't have to sit there, after a long day at work and try to, be freaking Shakespeare on a computer. No, just copy and paste the stuff that you already have, structure it in a persuasive way, and you'll get 10 new patients like that, right? Especially if you have the testimonial video that we're going to teach you how to get, right? We're going to give you the scripts on how to gather the testimony, Okay. So the second thing that you're going to get is the Facebook targeting workshop. Now, here's the deal. Okay. A message is only as good as its audience. Okay. A message is only as good as its audience. And when I say that, and what I mean by that is, if you, me as a man, there's many movies I've sat through as a guy with, whatever girl or friend I had at the time that I did not particularly enjoy, right? Like The Notebook. I probably literally the worst movie is The Notebook. Girls love it, right? Now, I'm not going to buy a Notebook t-shirt, a Notebook backpack, a Notebook sticker to put on my laptop. So no matter how great that movie was, right? If they market it to me, they would know that wouldn't be considered a great movie, right? The same thing with, right? And the example I always love using is I read a lot of these magazines, right? Discover. And what I always say to people is, if you write the best advertisement for a Bible, okay, it's not going to work in a magazine that literally talks about genetic fixes 101, right? If you put a Bible ad in this magazine, it's not going to do well, no matter how great of an ad it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you not only how to craft a compelling message to IBS patients, to thyroid patients, to autoimmunity patients. We're also going to show you how to not waste money putting that in front of the wrong people. Now, what most people do is they just upload their city, their zip code, a 10-mile radius, and then they just let the ads go as if that's enough, right? Now, there's two problems with that. Number one, if you just do like a 5-mile radius, there's not enough paid prospective patients in that area to even make it worth your while. And then number two, if you open up to the whole state, right? And if you can practice in that state, it might be worth it. If you open up to the whole state, well, there's going to be much more people who don't need your services than they do. So we're going to teach you how to go about finding the exact person who is most likely to take you up on your service. Okay? We're going to show you how to do that. I'm going to walk you through a case study where I generated a client of mine, 41 leads in a week. I'm going to show you exactly what I did in the targeting. Right? How would you like that? The next thing you're going to get is the inclination testing structure setup. Now, I stole the word inclination from one of these magazines I read because what they do, what happens in clinical trials, right, with pharmaceutical companies, and that's all I do. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I help functional medicine practitioners, and I read what pharmaceutical companies and charlatan doctors do, because if we could take a good product and combine it with good marketing, that's the utopia. Okay, so I study what these pharmaceutical companies are doing, because if we could do it together and you actually have a good product, imagine the word of mouth that's also going to be involved. Okay, right? I mean, how many people are going home saying, hey, auntie, or going home for Thanksgiving talking about the pills that they take. Okay, right? But you as a doctor, you can get some of that word of mouth as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to set up Facebook ads in a way where you can learn about your market, okay? So one of the things I always teach here, and let me find out the page, right, is what I call the 4 M's. So the 4 M's are money, mastery, movement, and mating, okay? These are like the 4 foundational things that almost every human is always aspiring to do, right? Money, this is how literally society works. So even if you're not a money person, or you think money is the root of all evil, whatever, the reality is you can't put gas in your car to even go to your office without it, right? Mastery, this is your ability or the desire to be, and a lot of functional medicine practitioners are motivated by this. This is your desire to be the best in your field, right? You could easily stay a medical doctor or easily could stay a chiropractor, but you want it more. You want to actually get results for patients, right? That's a desire that your patients are also going to have, right? Imagine having IBS and trying to go to work every day, right? How much dreams are crushed because of IBS? How many dreams are crushed because of thyroid and I'm feeling lethargic? So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to create ads that talk to these one of 4, and there's actually a lot more that we go over in the course, but these 4 foundational motivations, we're going to teach you how to create ads that speak to them so you understand what your market is most motivated by, so you can create more ads that speak to that desire, right? So just because I create an ad that speaks to mastery or speaks to mating doesn't mean I can't create another 3 that speak to the same thing in a different angle. You see, right? That's why I read magazines, because I can say the same thing 3 different ways, and that's 3 different ads. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to set up ads that test the psychographics of your market, so you know and you have confidence as soon as you press play or launch, that your $1 is going to bring you back $2. Okay? Now imagine that. Imagine not having anxiety when you put your credit card in Facebook. Imagine not having anxiety that you're just going to spend $500, $600, $700 and get nothing back, right? That's what we're going to teach you here, right? So that's everything that we're offering. Let me pull that there. Now I need to get a bunch of different pieces of paper so we can make it a lot easier to read. But just to recap for you, you're going to get the Copywriting Alchemy course, which is going to literally teach you how to set up your intake form so you can copy and paste that into 7 copywriting frameworks, aka persuasion structures, to get you new patients. We're going to teach you about how to target people on Facebook, right? So you can take those well-written ads and put them into the people who are most likely to buy your services, so you don't waste money showing people who don't need it, right? And right, you don't want to put a Chick-fil-A advertisement in a neighborhood full of vegans. Okay, we're going to teach you how not to do that on Facebook, because that's how a lot of people think Facebook doesn't work. They work so hard on writing a good ad, but they don't know the technical aspects of it, which can be intimidating, especially since Facebook's always changing. Okay, so we're going to teach you that, and then we're going to teach the inclination testing structure setup. Right? How do you test the psychographics of your market? Now, all of this, right? So the Copywriting Alchemy course is a $4,000 offer, right? And the way I judge this is because I buy programs too, right? I was not always an expert. I was a beginner too, and I spent $4,000 on one course. Okay, so that's the same price tag I'm gonna put on my stuff, especially since I did what I'm teaching. I did the copywriting course. I implemented it on clients. I know what works. I know what doesn't. So even it's more valuable than that, because I know what to teach and what not to teach. Okay, so that's a $4,000 value for the Copywriting Alchemy course. The Facebook targeting workshop, again, is a $999 value. Okay, and if you don't believe me, just go on Facebook and buy it from somebody else. You're not going to pay less than that. And the last thing, the testing structure, $97. So you add all this up, it's a $5,000 value. Okay, and that's not even all I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you some free bonuses too. So if you're a beginner functional medicine practitioner, guess what? You don't have, even if you have the intake form set up the right way, you don't have any patients that have you haven't had any patients who had the problems that you're trying to get, right? So think back to my client, Buddy Chijinski. When he was a chiropractor, he didn't have any IBS patients. So how the heck would he know what IBS patients want? So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to use platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Amazon comments, Quora, Reddit. So you can find people online who are complaining about their symptoms, complaining about how, like literally, if you go to Reddit right now and you go into IBS forums, you can see people complaining about how their IBS is affecting their life. Now, what if we taught you how to take that and put that into copywriting frameworks? So you can get new patients in the door who have that issues. And then we're also going to give you the intake form so you can then take the problems directly from them and get the rich get richer. And that's the foundational principle of life. The rich get richer. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to jumpstart you, right? So pretend this is a car and your car has no engine right now. You're beginning your practice, your car has no engine. Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to get the jumper cables and we need to jump the car. And then what should we jump the car? We're going to teach you how to make sure the car goes on forever, right? Now, those are 2 free bonuses we're going to give beginner practitioners. Now, if you're an advanced or you're an experienced practitioner, guess what? You have a website. And how many people visit your website on a daily basis? Okay. Now, if you're anything like my clients, you probably have pages on your website that are johndoe.com/digestive issues or johndoe.com/autoimmunity issues. Okay, we're going to teach you how to create ads for a specific illness and then target the people on your website who went to those illness pages because they're most likely to buy you for a solution to that illness. Remember what the charlatan doctor said. I create product A, B, C, and D, and then I sell it to people who have problem A, people who have problem B, people who have problem C, right? So on your website, you already know, right? If you install what we call the digital footprint, you can tell what people in the digital landscape have that problem, and then it's just your job to show them that ad, right? We teach you exactly how to do that. So if you have a website, we put this tracking on it, and boom, we know what problem people have because they would have never went to that page of your website if they didn't, okay? And then last bonus we have is the behind the scenes persuasion videos. And this is me copywriting with my class. So I gotta go, I gotta run. I have some meetings I'm like an hour late to, but that is, click the link below, and guess what? This is a $5,000. I'm offering it for $1 because what did I say? All right, and I'm gonna go with this. What did I just say as far as the best model to do? Okay, so if you remember what I was saying before was first, right? You create a product. So I've been running an agency for a long time now, okay? I'm at a stage in my life, in my career, where I don't want to always be doing the work. I want to start duplicating my efforts, reaching more people, offering things that are cheap. Like working for me is not, me doing it for you is not cheap, okay? It's a retainer, $5,000 a month. And I do everything for you. So you just talk to me once a week and we have a Slack group. But not everybody can afford that, especially if you're just starting out. So what I'm doing is I'm duplicating my knowledge into a online portal, which is what you're going to get a login into once you reserve your spot. I'm creating a product, right, that I'm promoting right now, and the price that I'm using, like I said, it's free. I'm giving it away for almost, the model is when you start new, always give it away for free or damn near free. So everything that I'm offering you today, a $5,000 value, I'm going to give it away. Or I'm going to offer it today for $1. $1. And you get all of this stuff. And here's why. Half of me, right, this is what my mentor said, and I'm going to leave with this. My mentor said, always do things for a selfish and a selfless reason. So the selfless reason I'm doing this is because I'm motivated by mastery just like you. I like people telling me I'm the great, that I'm the GOAT, right? I'm the GOAT. Andrew, you're the GOAT marketer. You help me. You transform my business. I'm spending time with my family more than I've ever been. I want those emails from you. But then also selflessly, guess what? I also want to make money without working. So the more people that get in now at this introductory offer of $1, the more testimonials I'm going to get, and then the more I can charge later to the functional medicine practitioners that are skeptical. And listen, if you're skeptical, good, right? Good. I only want serious functional medicine practitioners who are ready to grow their business. Okay? So if you're skeptical, if you don't think all this is worth $1, okay, then just take this video, listen to it, and try to implement it yourself. Okay? I did my best. I gave you 90 minutes for free or whatever, and just take it. Okay? But if you want more help, if you want me literally to open up the curtain and show you what I'm doing for other patients just like you or other clients just like you, functional medicine practitioners, holistic practitioners, regenerative medicine, then what do you have to lose? $1? You literally were gonna buy a pack of gum today anyway. Okay? So if this is not worth the pack of gum to you, I'm sorry. Then you snooze, you lose. Okay? So that's the deal. Now here's the thing. I am raising the price on this, right? So this is what we're gonna do, right? Right? If you don't know who the sucker in the room, then you're the sucker. So I'm not the sucker in the room. This is $1. It's literally it's gonna cost me more to process the transaction than you're paying. So you're just paying for your credit card transaction fee. Literally, okay? But here's the thing, I'm not stupid. So as soon as we get 10 people in here, and I'm running ads. This is my 3rd video in 3 days. I'm gonna promote this all month. I'm gonna do 30 videos in 30 days. As soon as we get 10 patients, don't be surprised if you click the link above and you see that it's now $10, And then once we get 100 patients, it's going to be $100. And then once we get 1,000 patients, it's going to be $1,000. Okay? So time is not on your side. So it's $1 now. If you click it and the price is raised, listen, if the price is raised, the price is raised. I can't help that. That's what it is, right? So this is what you call the first mover advantage. If you're a first mover, you get this for $1. If you wait to see if it works for your friends, then when you come back, it'll be $1,000, and that's fine. It's worth $5,000 anyway, so I'm giving you a deal regardless. But if you want the introductory offer, it's $1. Click the link below, above. I got to run, and I hope this helps. So I'll be creating another video tomorrow, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care.